Capitalism isn't failing, huh? We have one of the highest infant mortality rates. We have one of the lowest life expectancies of developed countries, to the point that we don't even make the top 20. Yet we spend more on healthcare than anyone else.
So we live in a country that claims to be number one in everything, right? Now, that would insinuate personal responsibility, which is supposed to be a part of American culture. Now, I'm not even going to get into that. But again, if we're number one, that means that we're responsible and we take charge, right? But our education system is nowhere near number one. Our healthcare system is nowhere near number one. Our job market is not modernized.
We do, however, hold the top spot for most incarcerations by far. And we're number one for gun violence. And this could be linked to our failing education system, in which we have some of the lowest literacy and numeracy rates.
And then what happens, right, is when we have entire generations, millennials, Gen Z, who have faced two recessions back to back, well, millennials especially. But now the Gen Z, they're facing the same things. What happens? No. Now the dial gets turned to, oh, you're just lazy. You just don't know how to manage money. You just rather buy avocado toast instead of saving your money. Well, who were our parents? Who were our grandparents? Who are the people who we're coming up after, right? It looks a lot more like the people who were above us just ruined everything for everyone else.
Oh no, there's more. Millennials and Gen Z are the most educated generation, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we're also the most productive and work the longest hours. Yet we are paid less than previous generations at the same age. There's a reason why millennials and Gen Z are losing faith in capitalism. Is this the American exceptionalism we were sold on?
I mean, just anecdotally, many of the people that I know within my circle, their rents are going up and up and up. Just my rent from the place I lived last year, the rent went up $200. One of the guys I know, he's an engineer. His rent is going up $400 at the end of his lease. That's becoming commonplace. But again, people aren't making more money.
More opportunity in America. You just have to work for it. 20% of children in the U.S. live in poverty. And if you spend 7 years or more in poverty, you only have a 13% chance of escaping. And that's not a 13% chance of becoming upper class or even middle upper class. That's a 13% chance of escaping poverty.
And what do we have? We have a Democratic Party who promises they're going to do something about it. But when they get in office, when they have a supermajority, they don't raise the minimum wage. They don't legalize marijuana. They don't take it off of the Schedule 1 sentencing. They do nothing. Biden's, done something like 40,000 people in their student loan debt. But they fit under a very specific criteria. Even though he said he was going to eliminate $10,000 worth of it, he hasn't done that, right? That's the type of country that we live in. And then we have a Republican Party that, instead of enhancing the economy, which they claim to care so much about, no, we'll just eliminate women's rights to abortion, and we'll make life for trans people really, really hard, and we'll focus on critical race theory, but it's really just a blanket for their typical GOP nonsense.
Studies have shown America is essentially an oligarchy, and the interest of citizens is barely represented in Congress. But no, capitalism hasn't collapsed yet, because Americans are so indoctrinated into it and sold on the idea of American exceptionalism that, like Worf from Star Trek, we'd rather die with the ship than change course.
I mean, we've barely got anything to work with politically, and that's the truth, right? Because it's like we're faced with $1.7 trillion worth of student loan debt, and then the conservative arguments against it, which we've debunked here over and over again. Oh, well, we don't want to pay for your debt. Well, okay, legalize marijuana, raise taxes on billionaires and corporations. You'll make do, you'll make up the difference, right? Oh, but of course, and then there's the issue of, well, 40% of those student borrowers are doctors and lawyers. And so really it's just a ploy to the upper class. Well, even if that was the case, if we only want to focus on the doctors and lawyers, wouldn't eliminating $1,000+ $700, $800, $900 a month that they have to pay in student loan debts, wouldn't that give them more money to spend on the economy? Regardless, right? Because, doctors and lawyers, they're not like Elon Musk rich. They're not Mark Zuckerberg rich. They're not 100 millionaires. They're making high 6 figures, very low 7 figures. These are not the people in society who truly have all the dollars. And so if you're making, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, yeah, that's great money. But if you have $200,000, $300,000 in student loan debt, and then again, the price of homes is continuing to go up and the price of everything is going up, The gap between the haves and the have-nots continues to rise. So even doctors and lawyers, they're really rather on the low rung when you're really considering who has all the resources in this country. So this really was just, a rant from me to just talk about just the reality of the culture that we live in, because we have all these issues, and yet both the Republican and the Democratic parties are rather completely incapable of doing anything about it.